Hello and welcome to the Federal. The decision on Kerala Chief Minister has finally been taken by the Congress Party after a long delay of 10 days. We were having this discussion a short while back, but due to some technical glitches, we had to interrupt that. We're back now with our special guests, Mr. M.G. Radhakrishnan and Mr. K.J. Jacob, both senior journalists from Kerala. Mr. Radhakrishnan, I'd like to come to you first. V.D. Satheesan finally makes it. Many would say that this was the logical choice because the cadre, the party cadre, and even the allies of the Congress were sort of rooting for him. We've seen a lot of ugly muscle flexing through flexes all over Kerala, for V.D. Satheesan. Finally, the party's made a choice. How do you see the decision and the indecision that preceded it for almost 10, 11 days now?
It has been quite a fun-filled 11 days for media because we have not actually witnessed such dramatic, suspense-filled, exercise to choose the next chief minister in Kerala. Never before we have seen such a dramatic process. So at the end of it, and we have, as many people who actually expected, the mantle actually fell on V.D. Satheesan. But why this, this long exercise was mainly because, there have been three major candidates for the first time in the history of Congress or UDF who were equally sort of endowed with, whatever the capabilities that they have in various, varying degrees. All of them were suitable to hold that post. So it became a extremely prolonged exercise. This has not happened before because there was, when UDF, it was either Karunakaran or Anthony. And after Karunakaran left, it was Umman Chandi or Anthony. So this was for the first time that three persons, all equally suitable for the post, came to the fore. And so this took quite a long time for the High Command to come to a decision because all the three had their own, constituencies in terms of clout, political leverage, social leverage, and all those things. So finally, it seems that the mandate has been honored. The huge mandate was mainly for Satheesan, undoubtedly, because he was a guy who, aggressively and with clarity, he led this campaign, and he actually took on the LDF government from 2021. 2021 was the time when the UDF and Congress was deep in the dumps. So it was from those extremely difficult situation that Satheesan, under the leadership of Satheesan, the UDF and the Congress made a major spring back to the center stage. So actually, Satheesan deserved what he got right now. But what happens next is going to be the most difficult questions to answer right now.
So let me then at least, maybe put you in a spot there by asking what happens next. A difficult election for the chief minister within the Congress. Now, you move on to the next logical, the next step, cabinet formation, speaking to the allies, getting them on board in terms of, who is accepting how many berths and all of that. And then more than perhaps the allies, because Mr. Satheesan seemed to have the backing of the allies in any case, within the Congress, the distribution of cabinet berths. Do you sense problems happening there too? Or now that at least the CM is clear, things might be more streamlined?
Well, Puneet, he is the 24th Chief Minister of Kerala, but he is the 13th Keralite to become the Chief Minister, because most of the Chief Ministers had two or more terms. So if you go by that number, he's the 13th man. And you know what about, how superstitions go when, the number 13 is considered. So I hope that number 13 is not going to be a major problem for Satheesan. but the kind of enormous challenges that he is going to face in terms of political sort of balancing, or the other social balancing, and also the kind of enormous economic and other development issues that Kerala is facing now. I think the problems are too much, actually, because the first, of course, as we all know, he has to make himself, his position strong within the Congress, which is very difficult because he happens to be in minority. If you take the entire CLP figures are taken into consideration, because where Mr. Venugopal holds a brutal majority among the elected MLAs, and the second person who has who behind Satheesan, behind Venugopal, is Ramesh, and Satheesan has only the lowest number of MLAs is actually for Satheesan. Definitely, as the power equations goes, the power tussle goes, there will be some kind of you know floor crossing. Now, some MLAs from both the sides are likely to join Satheesan, more so with Ramesh Chennithala's camp, because Ramesh Chennithala seems to be the person who has been, almost like he has been, he looks like a political orphan right now. So most of those people who actually are with Satheesan or were with Ramesh until now are likely to cross over to Satheesan's camp. But that alone will not be enough for him to pose a challenge to the huge camp that the other person, Venugopal, leads right now. So politically, inside the Congress, he is going to have enormous problems, no doubt about it. And also the kind of support that he has now from the allies also is, on the one side, it's strength, it's his strength, but the other side, that support also could make him a bit vulnerable in terms of social, if you take into the castes and religious equations into consideration, the support that he enjoys from the huge support that he enjoys from Muslim League, and also the Catholic Church driven Kerala Congress also could make him slightly vulnerable on the other side, because already Hindu caste leaders have already jumped into the fray, posing questions against Satheesan's, sort of independence and other things. And BJP is waiting in the wings to make use of it. So it's going to be really, really tough for the next Chief Minister, Mr. Satheesan.
Mr. Jacob, if I may come to you, this is also perhaps for the first time in a long time in Kerala and the Congress, for the Congress in Kerala, where you went into, an election without, the previous talk of the I faction and the O faction and the A faction, all those factions that the Kerala Congress was so publicly known for. And one had a sense of a more united Congress going into battle. But what has happened subsequently with the election, with a brute majority, and this kind of muscle flexing, this kind of one contender who seems to have the support of the public and the cadre, another contender, Mr. K.C. Venugopal, who has the support of the High Command, who did not contest the election. For the Congress, is this a new flux that the party is going into? It may have got rid of the traditional factionalism of the party, but this kind of stuff that we've seen over the last 10 years, does that hint at a new format of factionalism for the Congress henceforth?
You're right. It's a paradox in the sense that from the 80s, when the Congress goes into an election, then all the wranglings will be before the election is announced, before the election takes place. Because they go into the election with a clear leader. Whether it is Karunakaran, Anthony, Ummanchandi, there was no question of somebody else propping up. That decision would have been settled before the factions would be there that will be working among the electorate, among the party cadre. But the question of leadership would have been settled long back. This is the time when the party went into an election mode, unified, and then after the massive mandate they got, the wrangling started. From that point of view, this is the first time that something like this is happening in Congress. And it used to be, once the chief minister is decided, as I said, the chief minister would have been decided earlier, but there will be big push and pull for the ministerial berths. Now, if the chief minister's post has been fixed after a lot of wrangling, now we have only wait and see what's going to happen for the rest of the constitution of the ministry. So, as Eden pointed out, now the groups and the factions must have been changed dramatically, and we don't know who is with whom and what repercussions will have.
Yeah, Mr. Radhakrishnan, the other point here is what these 11 days have also brought out, in a sense, is the manner in which there's been a sort of very clear public perception that the man who's been chosen to lead Kerala was not the High Command's choice. And the High Command has, and particularly Mr. Rahul Gandhi, has in a way been humbled by perhaps public pressure, cadre pressure, ally pressure, that because everyone seemed to think, and the popular perception was that it was Mr. K.C. Venugopal who Rahul wanted in the hot seat. Now, given that kind of a situation, when the government is formed, is it going to be difficult for Mr. Satheesan also to take the high command into confidence? Will there be a situation where, constantly Mr. Satheesan has to, look over his shoulder and see what is happening in Delhi? Is his seat safe or not? Is his governance safe? Is that a situation that the Congress has got itself into?
All these things. And Satheesan, definitely Venugopal, it's very clear, it's very obvious that Venugopal retracted the scene only under pressure from the High Command, because High Command was put under pressure by the popular pressure that rose in Kerala. Because this is something which we saw similar things we saw in with the LDF in 2006 and 2011, when V.S. Achyutanandan, the veteran leader, was denied a ticket by the party, officially by the party. For the first time, there was such a huge popular uprising against that decision, which made even a party like CPM, the iron-fisted, known for its party discipline and organized, systems and all, had to succumb to popular pressure and change their decision not to feel the Achyutanandan, and they had to feel the Achyutanandan, they had to make him chief minister. So this has never happened before. This was one of the rarest instances in history where the popular pressure, made the party change its decision. And so that happened astonishingly for the second time in a row in 2011. Then also V.S. Achyutanandan was denied a ticket, and then again the popular pressure arose. And besides the popular pressure, that also was a sign of the pressure of the media, because you were living in the 24-hour news cycle channel of television channels, and the entire Kerala public space was filled with this, with scenes of people hitting the streets, raising slogans and shouting slogans against the party leadership. And then the party had to succumb to pressure. And that was CPM. So just imagine what would be the case of Congress. And in this case also, I think High Command initially was almost decided on K.C. Venugopal, and most of the leaders besides CLP, the elected MLAs, almost all the former office bearers and other former leaders, most of them supported Venugopal. In spite of that, there was such a huge public uprising in Kerala. Intellectuals, media people, they all were actually lining up in support of Satheesan and actually openly reprimanding the high command for going with KC Venugopal. This actually put the high command under pressure, and they had to sort of finally decide on VD Satheesan. So this is actually popular pressure plus the media role actually are making political parties, even those parties which are known for its internal discipline and internal iron-fisted organizational laws, actually succumb to this kind of popular uprising. So, but that brings only to one position, that is Satheesan has come to the position, come to the seat, but what next is something which neither the popular, sort of sentiment nor the media will be able to handle, because KC Venugopal is a powerful secretary AICC. But also there is also a story that, at a crucial point of time, KC Venugopal had so many enemies right in Delhi also among the top leadership. So the G23 and people like, the guys who were in the G23, they all worked together to, this was an opportunity to hit at a person they hated for a long time. So they all worked together to bring in Satheesan. So what is going to happen to Venugopal at the center also is a thing that we like to watch out. So if he is going to lose his position at the center also, that also can create problems for Satheesan, because he will be back in Kerala and creating problems for Satheesan. So Satheesan's life is going to be extremely difficult in the throne. It's actually going to be a crown of thorns.
Right. The joke in the AICC these days has been that everybody in the AICC and the Kerala unit of the BJP, as well as the CPM, seem to be unanimous in sending Mr. KC Venugopal to Kerala, while everyone in, all the cadres of the Congress in Kerala want Mr. Venugopal to stay put in Delhi. Now, Mr. Jacob, if I can come to you, the third contender here, the third hopeful, was Mr. Ramesh Chennithala, a very senior congressman, a member of parliament for 4 terms, an MLA for 6 terms. He's served in practically every position in the party. He's been a minister in the governments of Mr. Karunakaran and Mr. Chandy. He's been an LOP, a Kerala Congress president. He's been a general secretary of the party, but he's lost out yet again. And perhaps, this was the last chance that he had of becoming the CM, but he continues to be, a CM in waiting so far. What makes Mr. Chennithala lose out in these kind of, battles? He's got his seniority, and we are told that he's quite upset that, his seniority, his loyalty to the party, his discipline, his supporters didn't go out doing the kind of protests that Mr. Satheesan or Mr. Venugopal's protesters did. What makes Mr. Chennithala such a weak contender in that sense, if one could call
it? This time he actually had no right to make a claim to the CM's post, even if he is he's one of the very senior congressmen in the country. He has been an NSU president, he was Indian Youth Congress president, he was KPCC president, he has held every single position in the party. But the problem was that he is a very disciplined congressman. The momentum was definitely in favor of Satheesan. In the last election, he held a majority in the Congress Legislature Party, but the party chose Mr. Satheesan instead. So he was, as a disciplined man, he gave way to Satheesan. This time around, he was not in contention. In fact, his only hope was if the High Command opts for him as a compromise candidate. But what came in between is the wide the kind of mass agitation on the screen, the groundswell of support for Satheesan, that limited the High Command's choice. Now, I was expecting, because the High Command had a very tough choice to make, because the parliamentary parties with Venugopal, and the popular feeling is with Mr. Satheesan. So, what was the choice they were to make? The only hope for Ramesh Chennithala was that if the High Command opted for a compromise candidate, they did not. They were unable to you know, discard the kind of noises that are coming from various quarters in Kerala, especially from the allies. So that actually sealed the fate of Ramesh Chennithala. And maybe the party high command, I mean, party high command had, I remember, when he was to be inducted into the Women Chandi candidate, he was to give an unimportant portfolio. Then Srimati Sonia Gandhi herself personally intervened to ensure that he was accommodated with the plum portfolio. So this time around, but I think there was no intervention to reward him for the loyalty he has exhibited, and the two sides were so powerful that his voice become very meek. Uh,
Now, is there a possibility, of uh, Mr. Chennithala kind of, going on a rebellious path? Uh, of course, he's always been, and he's known to be a disciplined party worker. That's something he himself has constantly talked about. That he's a loyalist of the party. He's a soldier of the party. He'll accept decisions. But from what we gather, uh, he's decided to not go and attend the legislature party meeting today. He's obviously upset. Mr. Radhakrishnan, do you think he might, finally see his patience and his discipline breaking at this point? Or will he come around if the High Command reaches out to him and, offers him something that befits his stature in the party?
Well, normally he, as you said, is a very disciplined person. He is not a person who would pick a quarrel with his rivals in the Congress or other, even other opposition leaders. So he is normally seen as soft spoken kind of person. But this time he looks deeply hurt because he knows that this is the last bus, as it were. Because the last time also he missed that opportunity between the cup and lip, and then 2016 he was to be made the chief minister, but UDF lost, and then he was moved out, he was shunted out as the opposition leader from the post of opposition leader, where Satheesan was inducted. So he feels legitimately hurt. And so, unlike, even though he is temperamentally as a soft person who goes with the diktats or the decisions of the high command, this time, since he seems to be quite upset, I don't know, and he's already 70 plus, and so this was considered to be his last chance to become a chief minister, because, as Jacob said, he has held almost all other positions. So Satish is a younger person who has a longer political future. But this time, since he has lost this opportunity, I don't know whether Ramesh will be take this completely. He would remain the obedient or loyalist that he has always been. This time, because he is deeply upset, and his chances, his
Mr. Jacob, if I may ask you, with regard to what we're seeing now, of course, decks cleared. Can you hear me, Mr. Jacob? I think we've got an issue with network again. Both our guests had been complaining that network there seems to be very weak, and also constant calls uh, to the journalists. But we'll keep getting you more updates on what's happening. This is still, as they say, a developing story, and later in the day, the party has to stake claim to form a government, then the next process of cabinet formation, all of which, as Mr. Radhakrishnan and Mr. Jacob were telling us, fraught with problems for Mr. Satheesan. And then, of course, also the question of governance. So we'll keep bringing you these updates and discussions and insights into what's happening in Kerala. Thank you for watching. Thanks for logging in.